Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Imam Anegra. I'm come from PBIB. The title of Grammar Instruction in Communicative Language Teaching Classroom Student Teachers Perceptions. Abstract. The aim of the study was to find out the teachers and students' perceptions toward grammar instruction in communicative language teaching classrooms. The participants of this study were two teachers and four students from an Islamic junior high school madrasah. We use a case study method to conduct this research to identify teachers and student perceptions in teaching and learning grammar instruction in communicative language teaching classroom. And introduction. Grammar is the language framework and system of meaning. Easy language seems to have a grammar, and person speaking in similar language will communicate because they naturally understand the grammar structure, which is the rules of meaning. According to Buster, language without grammar is going to be messy, and it is harder to understand language without looking for the basic framework. So, grammar language will be impossible to learn effectively without following structural rules. They found that grammar plays a very important role in the study of language. The purpose of the grammar is to educate those who use English to express their thoughts properly, both in speaking and writing. And then the literature review. The concept of communicative language teaching. Communicative language teaching (CLT) is one of approach to language teaching. This approach was found from the awareness that language as a system for communication, not just a set of the rules. It which it's which the emphasis of traditional language teaching to grammar and teacher central classes to the active use of authentic language in learning and ask questions. CLT is an approach that emphasizes communicative ability. Role of student, teacher, and grammar instruction in CLT. Communicative language teaching emphasizes on self-direction for students. Teacher on really on activities that involve repressions, accuracy, and the memorization of sentence. They require students to communicate in context and communicate meaningfully in foreign language. Purpose that is important for active development of a new language. In addition, Baron and described the role of learners in emerging from and interacting in the role of the negotiator, both in group and in classroom activities. Methodology, research design, participants, and locale of the study. The study used intrinsic case study method as the way to collect the data causal. Stats case study is qualitative approach that involves the study about issue explored through one or more cases over time to detail. In-depth data collection involving multiple sources of information. We use intrinsic case study because this study design was focused on the case itself. The case presents an unusual or unique situations. Data collection and analysis. In this research, in order to find out the teachers and students, perception in grammar instruction in communicative language teaching. We use interview in order to gain information about teachers and students. Perception toward grammar instruction in communicative language teaching classroom. To, to analyze the data of teacher and student, perception toward grammar to determine information about teacher and student. Perception toward grammar instruction in communicative language teaching classroom. The findings, the data gained gained from interview were analyzed by using thematic analysis. The descriptions of the finding were explained as follows. Teachers' perceptions. After analysis the data from interview, we found that there was some teachers' perceptions toward grammar instruction in communicative language teaching. The terms and codes gained from the analysis of qualitative data obtained from interview explain the importance of grammar. Based on the data obtained from the interview, we got some teachers' perceptions about grammar instruction in communicative language teaching. Classroom activities. Based on the data obtained for interview, it was found some perception toward grammar instruction in communicative language teaching. We found that most of the teachers agreed that in learning process group work or pair work was designed to promote communication in the classroom. Quality and quantity of error connection. Based on the data obtained from interview, we found that most of teachers agreed that error correction was one of process to grade students in mastering materials. However, the teachers also did not feel angry when students made a grammatical error. And then the role of teacher in classroom. And then classroom activities, quality and quantity of error correction, the role of teacher in classroom, the role and contribution of student in the learning process. Discussion. After analysis the data by using a thematical analysis, it was found that there was several information about teachers and student perception toward grammar instruction in communicative language teaching classrooms. Those consisted of the importance of grammar classroom activities, quality and quantity of error correction, the role of teacher in classroom, the role and contribution of student in the learning process. Therefore, the explanation of the factor was described as following in order to know further much information about them. And then the conclusion. Based on the data analyzed by using thematical, it was found teacher and student perception toward grammar instruction and communicative language teaching. The first, teachers' perception in teaching grammar instruction in communicative language teaching classroom. 1. Teachers think that provide students with explanation was an effective way to teach grammar instruction in CLT classroom. 2. In learning process teacher using group and paid work was designed to promote communication in CLT classroom. 3. Teacher claimed that in learning process error connection was one process student to making material, so correcting mistake was an obligation for teachers. For teachers verified they solved as motivator in the teaching learning process and training students to take responsibility in develop shared activities. 5. In teaching grammar instruction in CLC classroom, students called not only mastering the theory but also practicing the theory. Okay, I think it is enough. I wanted to say sorry if I have many mistakes. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.